Do you like short ones? Or maybe you like longer ones? Or maybe you like wide ones? Or maybe specialty type? In today's episode, we're talking about lenses. How do they work? What do they have inside? What type do you have and what type do you need? All that gonna get covered in today's episode of. But before we get to the lenses themselves, I'm gonna talk a little bit about something that's called lens coverage area. Because you probably don't know shit, you fucking idiot, but that's why you're here and you're gonna learn today. So, have you ever noticed something strange about the cameras? Because, like, in the last episode, we've talked about sensors, right? So, sensors are usually rectangular, right? But if you look at your lens is circular. So why the fuck aren't the pictures circular? It's because of said crop factor. Because the circle is basically what your lens produces. This is the whole image. But your sensor is taking from that circle and basically cropping it. We have different types of sensors, right? We have APS-C and full frame. And we also have lenses specially dedicated to each of these. But what happens if you mix up those lenses? And this is done through something called crop factor. And these crop factors, so let's do Canon and Nikon. So Canon has 1.6 and Nikon has 1.5, right? So if this is 50, here obviously it will look like 50. But here, let's take the Canon's crop factor times 50, and then we get approximately like 80 millimeters. So the crop factor will be big. And for APS-C, we need APS-C lens, right? But Nikon would be like 75 or something. So before you buy the lens, you have to know what type of camera you have. Also, full frame will fit more or less to each lens. It will crop, but like it will work anyways. Though APS-C might leave you with like black bars around your photo. And if you choose the wrong lens, your area might just shrink a bunch and then the lens is not really useful. So yeah, take that shit into consideration. Lenses are responsible for things like sharpness, contrast, color, perspective, and viewing angles. All right. And every lens, it's a little bit retarded in its own way, but that's all right. Sometimes you can get cool shit using this. But you also need to understand what the fuck is focal length. So let me introduce you to focal length. So the fuck is that? All right, we have a lens. So here you will have your focal point or imaging. So here will be your sensor or film, whichever you're using. And that distance in between them is focal length. And yeah, it's always in millimeters, not in freedom units, because it has to be fucking precise. And let's start attaching these imaginary tubes filled with glass. Right? We're gonna start with short and wide, and I'm gonna be drawing an angle that you can see there. So let's start at around 14 millimeters. It will be at around 140 degrees. And I know they're wider, but this is like pretty wide, you can say. And let's go 20 millimeters. Let's say it's around 94 degrees of an angle, right? So in this category, anything that's like less than 21 millimeters is called ultra wide lens. So this will be your planet looking stuff, fish eye, shit like this. So let's zoom in a little bit. And let's do this one at 24. That one will be like 84 degrees. And let's go all the way up to 35. This is around 64 angle, right? And if we would like categorize this, let's say like 24 to 35 millimeters, those are just wide lenses, right? But then we have something special. Though it's not that special, it's just special because we are fucking snowflakes as people in general. So this one is 50 millimeters at around 45 degrees. And that one is either called normal or standard. So, why it's normal? Why is it different? For what is it a standard, you might ask? Of course, because it matches human POV, right? But the 50 millimeter isn't always exactly like your POV. This is in specific circumstances because 50 millimeter and 135 film, so small frame film and 50 millimeter lens, which is usually also FFL, fixed focal length, so it means you cannot really zoom on it. It also takes into consideration specific circumstances. So for example, if you take a photo of a scene and you take this photo, grab it, pull your hand out, straight hand, the perspective of your image should match the perspective you see in real life. Hence the name normal, because it matches your POV basically. Alright, we can move on now. So let's start zooming and let's go to 70 millimeters now. The 34 degrees. But you know what? Let's zoom even more than that at 135 millimeters. Why I'm zooming so much? Shut up, don't ask so many questions. I'm gonna explain. The fuck? That's like 18 degrees of an angle. Alright. And here at like 80 to 135 millimeters, we have something called short telephoto. And like this particular part is often used for portraits as well, because you know, you look the best at it. And I'm probably gonna put the GIF or GIF or whatever the fuck, how focal length changes the shape of the face and why we stick with this. Though different people do different stuff, but some people use like 50 millimeter lens, but that's crazy. I could not be so close to the person when I'm taking photo of them. For me, it's the farther away I am from the person, the best. Because I don't know, they're gonna cough at me or something. But if you got to short telephoto, don't worry, gents. That's quite long, actually. But you know, not everyone has the same tube, lens. So some have a bit longer lenses, and your lens might be capable of this shit too. Let's go all the way to 200 millimeters. All right, 20 centimeter territory. So quite lengthy of a lens. 12 degrees. And then to top it all off, I'm just gonna zoom one more time to go for 400. Because yes, there are even longer lenses than that. But if we would have to categorize them, if you go from 135 to like 300, you've got medium telephoto. And then if we go over there and we kind of go over 300 millimeters, and anything over that will be called super telephoto, because at that length you have to be super. Do you know what I mean? Plus those bitches are like half a meter long usually, and you need a special tripod for these to shoot normally. So I don't know if it's worth it to have it so long. Although personally, I love me some medium telephoto because I like to crop shit. And of course, the more wide of a lens you will have more color distortions and distortions in general. With longer though, you might have problems keeping it sharp, dog. And you cannot really get that bright as with the shorter one, because that's another thing. If you have a zoom lens means you can change in between these modes. And if you have the zoom lens and set the lowest aperture and start zooming in, you can see it will automatically go up because it cannot be open when you zoomed in. So with both optics, you win some, you lose some, alright? But we also have few specific types of lenses. And let's start with your one, macro lenses. These are specifically designed, of course, for macro photography. So any type like flowers and bugs and shit like this. Also, macro lenses are a bit fucked up because they work upside down. What do I mean? The build inside is literally flipped from the normal lens. There are even attachments that allow you to attach your lens upside down to have a really good macro lens, and you can even try without any fancy shit. Just unplug your lens, flip it over, and you will have zoom. But you have to get really, really close to the subject, and it will be like tiny, you know? And here we have different focal lengths for different purposes. So, for example, we have 45 to like 65, pretty wide macro lens. So this one is for product photography because they require like short distance and like you can capture more thanks to it being wider. Then we have like 90 to 105, let's say. This is for like insects, flowers and shit because it requires you to be a certain distance from object that you're trying to portray so they won't run away right away. Seeing big stupid human, though some animals and some bags might be a bit more tricky. And you've probably saw like National Geographic and shit filming ants and like rare insects. And you were probably wondering how the fuck. So that's the fuck. We also have specialized telephoto lenses for like National Geographic shit. So you have to be farther away from the thing you're trying to portray. So this thing won't even know that you're filming it or whatever. So there's that. But did you know we also have a standard macro scale, which goes like this. We have 1:1, which means that 1 centimeter in real life equals 1 centimeter on your matrix. Then we have 1:2, and this one is 1 centimeter IRL equals half a centimeter on a matrix. Alright? But you think, I want those portraits of fucking bees or whatever. That's the shit I'm interested in. Hold on. Because we also have 2:1 scale. And in here, 1 centimeter IRL equals 2 whole centimeters on the matrix. So if you need them bugs to have like passports and shit, this is what you're gonna choose. But that's not all. I also have two special lenses that I wanna touch upon. First one is a tilt shift lens. Looks weird as fuck, but more or less let's pretend that this is a camera, right? And here we have the first part of our lens. Then, kabam, we have this little thing and it allows us to bend the lens to our will. So what the fuck, actually? This helps us to fix the perspective. So basically, if you ever try to take a photo of a building, you know that normally it goes more or less like this, right? So our building has a perspective, right? And in order to have building straight, you either need a helicopter or a drone or some shit like this to be in the middle of the building so it will be straight. But you know, we didn't always had drones and shit. So that's where tilt shift comes in, because this one allows you to take straight photos of a building without any weird perspectives and stuff, just by tilting and shifting the lens. These are hella expensive. You can also do like cool miniature effect with them if you're into that kind of stuff. But honestly, it's easy to do in the software. If you have a Nikon camera, literally check the camera. It should have miniature effect in like browsing the photos and stuff. We also have mirror lenses. Yay! Or boring name, catadioptic systems. Boo. Though this one is more for like huge constructions and shit. But the fuck is this, you might ask? Did they take a regular mirror, smushed it with the lens and they have it? I think so, yes. You might be onto something. And you've probably saw them and saw pictures done with them from like, I don't know, Hubble telescope. Have you heard of this shit? Yeah, telescopes. This fucking shit is telescopes, basically. But it will be easier to explain with drawing. So as any lens, we're going to start with the tube. So this is like a side view, and we're gonna have a mirror here, mirror here, mirror here, mirror here, one here, and also one there. And the light's gonna come in like this. Then it's gonna get bounced like this, then like this, then like this, and then like this. Pretty fucking simple, isn't it? So it's bouncing all over the place. And if we would look at lens like that up front, this kind of looks weird as shit too. Because we would have pretty simple, right, lenses circular. But we would add a circle in there, and this circle would be completely blacked out, so the light would go in like here, all around. And what's in that circle? Didn't you pay attention, you twat? I just explained that like 5 seconds ago. Here we have a mirror. But honestly, it might just work on magic. I don't fucking know. But let me give you some examples of these. So you can find like 300 millimeters. It will be 4.5, 500, like 5.6. And I'm eyeballing here, so shut the fuck up. Like 1,000, why not? At f8. So you might have noticed that I have put the aperture here. And the aperture usually sits in between glasses in your lens. So this here we don't really have lenses inside. That's why it might be called system instead of a lens. But also, because of that, we have aperture fixed in here. Fixed aperture means you cannot really change it. So it's forever that, whatever that number is here. And the more zoom you have, the higher the aperture will be. That's the rule. I didn't make it up. Why? I don't know. Don't fucking ask questions. Or do. Why not? After all, you're here to learn some shit. Because otherwise, why would you be here? Okay, that's gonna be the ending now. So if you liked the video and wanna see more, subscribe, of course, like the video. I'm gonna be releasing the whole series on photo techniques, and I'm gonna including both digital and film, plus a little bit of history behind the shtick. So if you're interested in photography, you can stay around, and also in visual arts, because I have other episodes on like different artists. Some things you didn't expect probably. So yeah. Now you can go on and play with your little lens.